Hello, hello. Howdy, YouTube. How's everyone doing? Getting on here for our live stream. It's another rainy day here in Los Angeles, which is surprising, but very welcome. But it has been like super cold and dark. So it's a little depressing, sort of, but I actually like it. So, um, anyways, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe and like the video. Come back for all our future live streams. We're coming on here. We're gonna write some more music, and in doing so, this kind of creates a lot of the content that goes up on the YouTube channel. So I do enjoy doing these live streams and kind of seeing what music comes out of them. Um, let's see. I think it was yesterday. Or was it the day before? Can't quite remember. I guess it was the day before. So Tuesday. Maybe it was yesterday. I can't remember. I released the next video in the Note for Note series, the kind of read along score um, format for some of my music. So the next video that I just put up was the first movement of my Creation Symphony. So that is in the Note for Note format. So if you are at all interested, you can go and listen to the music as well as follow along with the score as it kind of scrolls by. And there's an animated scrolling marker so you can keep track of it. So if you haven't seen that yet, I do encourage anyone to go and give that a watch. Give it a like, share it with your friends and your families and your dogs and all the people. Put a lot of effort into those kinds of videos, and they do take a lot of time. So any support is, of course, very much appreciated. And I will be doing the rest of the movements. There are 6 more movements, so 7 in total, for the Creation Symphony. And so every single movement is going to get that kind of score read-along treatment. So that's going to be coming in the next few months. I'm going to get started, I think, for Saturday's stream. We're actually going to do kind of what we did in the last Saturday, where I kind of walk through the kind of orchestration side of things. So it's not just live composition here on stream. We'll also do some orchestration stuff, turning MIDI like you see here on Logic into the actual sheet music. So we'll do that, a little bit more of that on Saturday as we kind of go into the next movement of the Creation Symphony, the second movement. And that one should be pretty simple. But so we'll do that on Saturday, I think. Until then, we're gonna come in here and continue working on this piece that we have been working on for a week and a half, 2 weeks, something like that. This kind of very aggressive, in-your-face, combat-driven music. So a ton of notes, but also a ton of fun. And we're trying to find our way towards an ending here, and I think we got a good idea of where we want to go. So without further ado, let's first off, let's just make sure that everything's loaded up and we can hear things on OBS. All right. So OBS should be working. We're going to get started here. We're not going to play it from the beginning. We're actually going to just kind of jump in from where we kind of left off here close to the end. Because I want to get directly into the this ending section without getting too bogged down with samples, being slow and maybe overloading the system or anything. So let's just go ahead and jump in. We're going to start here at measure 60, go to the end, and then we'll see kind of, what comes out of it. So here we go. All right, so that's where we left off because yesterday I guess on Tuesday, we kind of shifted around some things. We took this kind of soft, very much a change of pace, and we kind of just pushed it out of the way because we didn't really, it wasn't really working with the kind of direction we wanted to go. So we did some more string flares here. And then we brought in this low brass or low strings thing, transpose it up here. And I think that will kind of bring us into the end of this piece. So now it just becomes a matter of fleshing out the rest of this kind of outro ending section. So that's what we're going to attempt to do today. I think I want this kind of first section here to be these exposed strings, not this completely exposed, but like no big melodic statements or anything going on. But it's not until we get back to this section that I think we might go back and attempt to put this this melody that we had near the beginning in the brass here. We're gonna try and take that melody and superimpose it, if you will, on top of this section. Problem is, it's not in the correct, right, it's in 4/4 versus 5/8, so we might have to shift things around a little, but I think we can make it work. First thing, I kind of want to just delete these things because, yeah, we don't need them anymore. I know I'm not gonna go into that stuff. So we'll worry about that kind of melody thing later when we get to that section. Right now, I just want to kind of beef up getting into this run. Let me just remind myself. So 83 is in C sharp minor. 84 is in A minor. And then back and forth for these 4 bars. So, hello? So what I want to do is, instead of just having a long note here, I think something like that could work. Now obviously my timing was off because I was just kind of winging it. I wasn't really expecting to record it in, but let's see if we can just kind of fix this up a little. Oh, shoot. Press wrong button. I'll stop doing that. I'm going to grab all these short notes. Make them the same length just for, you know, the purposes of cleaning all this stuff up. I'm going to take these long notes, paste them into the actual bass long section. Because we got C sharp minor, so we have E in there. Then we have A minor, so we have C. We're back to C sharp minor, so we go up to the C sharp, or we could go down to G sharp, possibly. I'm actually going to take these long notes, turn them into marcato. Maybe I'm not. I guess staccato is fine. Alright. I like G sharp more than going up to C sharp there. So let's fill it out a little bit more. We're going to do that same thing in the low brass, which we might have to edit how the low brass is getting into this section. Let's go ahead and go into the tubas here. hard making sure I'm pressing the correct amount of notes. This is missed a note in there. Make sure everything quantized onto the right subdivision. All right. You, sir, should go there. Let me grab all these long notes. I'm going to change these to Marcato. See if I like that. I don't know. I guess that works. Because the Marcato is a good enough length for this, I don't necessarily need to copy those notes into the long patch as well. I'm going to do the same in the Chimbasso. What long note are the violins trilling off of? A? I might do that. Now for the Chimbasso, I don't actually have it broken up into longs, shorts, and all that stuff. So I might just have to, which is fine. I don't have to. It just doesn't give me quite as much control. Actually missed a note in here. And just mix my articulations here. So this will be a long. These will be put into the right spot, of course. And these instead will be marcato, and then all the little notes will, of course, be staccatissimo. See how we like this. Of course, with proper CC data in there. And honestly, playing the Chimbasso, I don't play the Chimbasso. I imagine it's probably very difficult to do this. Doing the kind of that kind of triple tonguing thing. Da, 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 da. Right. I imagine that's probably difficult for people like the Chimbasso and the tuba. I know it's kind of like possible, but in a realistic setting, I might actually take out these middle notes. And honestly, just having that kind of rhythmic difference between some of the voices, is always a little more interesting than otherwise. So I'm going to do the same in the tuba, because if by some miracle this gets played by a live orchestra, um, I think this is kind of the safe way to write for these low brass instruments. So we'll leave it like that, I think. But I do need to help out the basses, because the basses can do that. But right now that triplet is not really speaking very much, because it's just currently in the basses, obviously. So we'll put it into some other voices here. Including the violas, which are currently coming off of I think I'm gonna change these to okay, let's do this. I'm gonna do this kind of in two separate passes. So there's one pass. I'm going to take all the notes. I'm going to copy them. Let's quantize them relative to the grid first. Okay, I'm going to take them, copy them, put them into the shorts as well. And then adjust my articulation. So we're going to trill here. Don't need any of these notes here in the longs patch, so I'm going to get rid of them. And all these notes are going to be tremolo. Same thing with the bass, actually. I should turn these into tremolo as well. And then in the shorts patch, I'm going to turn them all into spiccato, except these longer ones are going to be, I guess, just staccato. Let's hear that. That'll be fine. It'll work. Of course, as with the usual process with writing this kind of stuff, a lot of the fader moves have not all been recorded in yet. In fact, none of the fader moves have been recorded in for this section. So a lot of them are already, it's unbalanced, or fader's just in the wrong position. There's just kind of no shape to it aside from the rhythm and the pitch of the notes, right? But there's no actual like dynamic variation currently. That will certainly come as we get all the notes in, because I like to record in the record in the fader moves when I know what all the notes are, right? Because if I'm missing notes, then I have fader moves that might not correspond to the kind of tessitura of the notes, and it just, I think it can complicate things. So I like to wait till I have a lot of the, pretty much all the notes in before recording in a lot of those things. Let me delete this. I don't need it. Along with instrument 105. I don't remember what I was doing here. Exploring something, but unnecessary. Okay. Do we want to do the same thing in the cellos? One kind of side effect of this that I hadn't really considered is the interaction between these notes and the violin notes, right? We kind of get these eighth note pulses on the last beat of each measure, going along with the trilled notes in the violins, which was not intended, but that works quite well. How do you say so myself? So, I'm not entirely sure what I want the cellos to do here. Might skip cellos for now. Harps. Do we want harps to just kind of go crazy on some maybe just some straight scalar runs? Just kind of up and down. Right. I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud, but so if I do think about that, if for example here in measure 83, they would have 3 beats to go up and down the minor scale. So what's subdivision? If they're going at the 16th note triplet, because a lot of the other instruments are playing 16th note triplets, like the violins are playing 16th note triplets. That gives us, gosh, how many notes is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 16th note triplets in one measure 3/4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. I mean, maybe we can kind of throw it in and see how we feel about it. What register do we want though? Probably right here in the middle, I think, because if it's going to be moving fast, right, I kind of want to stay out of the way of the violins. So here is a little bit below the violins. There will still be some overlap in the voices, especially with violin 2. But maybe it'll work. So I'm not going to be able to play this in. Why did I just right click to create note? Because that did not feel good. So I'm just going to do it myself. Bum 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 bum. Right, so here we go. Scale. Dang it. Pressing the wrong button. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, 8, 9. And then come back down. And I know it is, like the up and down motion of it is not necessarily directly onto like a perfect subdivision. Like it's cutting the 3/4 measure in half, essentially, right? Which kind of is a little bit against the grain of the violins. Also, I just noticed this might not work. So what I might actually, so if I match the notes with the violins, what the violins already have going on, we have this minor second here, which I don't think is going to be very kind. And not necessarily, I'm not trying to do a bunch of weird things here. So let's put everything up 1 scale degree. Let's see how we feel about this matched with the violins. That'll work, and then we have A on C sharp. E on F sharp, which, I mean, it's a passing tone, so I'm not entirely worried about that. Oops, pressing all the wrong buttons. So let's try something like this. Oh, Lord, sorry. And then we're going to take the same thing and put it into A minor. Just scale quantize because that's easier. Actually, you know what? I could just do C major because they're the same notes. That'll work. I'm curious how the second half of this interacts with the violin. It looks like they're the same notes. That should be fine. Yeah, so okay. So let's do this for these 4 bars. Pressing all the wrong buttons again. I have a pencil tool. Kind of want to be able to like pencil these notes in rather than do the kind of straight line thing that it defaults to. I don't know. I guess it's more of like a cue-based thing. Logic can't do pencil-drawn velocity maps, which I think is a shame, but, you know, what do I know? Okay, let's see how this interacts with our violin friends. So here we go. Woo! Let's grab violin twos because oh, never mind. They're the same thing. So it looks like a mess, but let's see how it works. I mean, it's just a little thing for the little ditty for the harps to do. It's not supposed to be a feature or anything, so it'll be fine, I suppose. Yeah, why not? It's just a little extra color, harp color going on in there. Okay. Timpani. Trying to pick a good range. I don't really like this low timpani range, especially when it's you know, not like a solo timpani thing. If it was because it's going to be so ingrained into the texture of the orchestra here, this kind of low timpani. First of all, just the regular hit, it's hard to perceive the pitch of this note. Right? Like, how do you know that's a C or an F sharp? I mean, this one is perfectly fine and clear. Right? But these all generally sound the same. So I'm trying to find a good. I don't like up here either. So C sharp minor, I could go. I think that's probably the best. Let's do that. So, kind of want to go in eighth note triplets here. We're gonna go. Yes, we're gonna keep that note there. Or we're gonna go. Let's try this. See if I don't absolutely screw this up. See if I get it first try. I already screwed it up. Jeez. I'm trying to play in triplets here. Yeah, okay. I know what I'm doing. Did I do that right? Kind of flubbed the note in here, but I think okay, you sir gotta cool your jets. I think I did that fairly decently. Let's not go 100% strength. Perfect. Whatever, it's fine. It will be serviceable. I'm just going to kind of mess around with my velocities here, make sure none of my notes are getting lost in the sauce. I might actually change these because there's so many rapid notes happening. I might actually change these to damped so we hear each individual note a little more clearly. Otherwise, it would sound like this. It kind of just muddy up a little bit. I also have super damped, which the damped, for whatever reason, also makes the strikes louder. I don't like super damped. So let's bring the velocity down. I'm fine with that. Yeah, why not? So we have C sharp minor here. A minor. Just checking my notes here. C sharp minor, yeah. And it's entirely possible if this was played by a live orchestra that this would have to be broken up into 2 timpani parts. Because the change between C sharp minor, right, these 3 notes, and then changing C sharp to C and G sharp to A for A minor. That would be 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 5 timpani, and 4 of the timpani, 1, 2, and 3 and 4 are so close in pitch, right? They're just a half step that it's probably not plausible to have 5 timpani that close in pitch. So it might have to be. Anyways, that's a tangent. It's not important, but it's just things that I think about when writing music. I always try to keep in mind how it might translate to a live orchestra, because I think if you're writing for a live orchestra in mind, even if it's something like this that's most likely never going to see the page, writing for live orchestra in mind always makes, at least for me, always makes the composition better and makes smarter orchestration choices. So, but that's neither here nor there. So. So these four measures are coming along. Still think we're missing some stuff. We can even employ the use of the bass trombones. Bass trombones in this particular library are always very loud and they really stick out of the texture. That kind of low note does not sound the best. We might not use bass trombones. We might use our tenor trombones. They are currently coming off an E already, which could be perfect. So let's put this into our tenor trombones as well. Ah, shoot. I forgot what I was doing. Alright, now I know tenor trombones would be able to do this triple tonguing figure, so I'm not worried about that at all. Make sure everything is on the right subdivision. We're missing a note in here. Let's grab everything, copy it, put it into the shorts as well. Take everything, we're going to turn it all into staccatissimo except for these long notes. We're going to turn those into marcato, and then we will blend the short patch in with the long patch, but the longs don't need those notes, right? So when we get to the point where we're ready to record in the fader moves and everything, which I might just put in some placeholder as I usually do, just so that we can actually hear the voice. We'll blend these two patches together a little more fully, and they'll come out sounding good. Right now, it might be a little. Right now, it might be a little too much, but we will definitely clean that up within time. Now, I kind of want to do something. So we have all these elements going on. We have our violins flying around the place. We got our low strings, except for cello. I guess I got to bring in cello at some point. The other strings and the low brass doing this kind of rhythmic figure. The third element, and probably the last element in this section, is going to be some sort. I'll also get the woodwinds in. I always neglect the woodwinds. I'm sorry. Some sort of kind of like a call and response sort of thing. So we have right, we have that. There's space in there for a response, if you will. Specifically on these long notes. Right, I don't want to get in the way of these triplets. Ew, what was that? Why did that sound terrible? Is this oh, this is why. Not on the eighth note. Alright, whatever. Um there's space in here for maybe probably trumpet and horn. Although I'm not entirely sure what I want that response to be. Ew, why does that sound weird? We have clash in notes. A, E flat. I think that's right. Might actually change this. Oh, you know what it is? It's because you're on an E, that's right. So I should actually change this trombone note to an E flat because the rising low brass part goes A, B, C, E flat. Yeah, okay, that's the issue. Okay, that'll work. Let's put you back down on A. Okay, problem solved. Trumpets, what are we gonna do? Not anything like that, but ew, gross. I hated that. That feels too much like C sharp major. Even, I mean, we do have a minor third in there, but it feels too A major, I suppose. Not gonna play long notes like that. It sounds too organ, get an organ effect going on. Um, maybe trumpets can play arpeggios like that, even if they go up to this. We're in concert pitch here, so this is a high E flat in the trumpet, which as a trumpet player, that would be incredibly difficult for orchestral musicians. I mean, if it was like Wynton Marsalis or someone like that, then all for it. But high concert C, this note here is kind of the accepted high range for orchestral trumpet playing. and you really won't see a note higher than this. Um, I mean, even that is rare. The standard high note for the trumpet range is concert B flat for most repertoire. This is getting way up there. Um, so something to consider. Hmm. So low brass and strings. Keep pressing that. So no. I think that's probably our best bet. Let's try something like that. So we're gonna jump to here. Ba-ga-da-dum, 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 ba-ga-da-dum. Yeah. Okay. So just like everything else, we're gonna do 16th note triplets here. Repeat that top note. Change everything to staccatissimo except this last one. I'm going to change to marcato so we get a lot more length. The problem is, and this is just this library is that I kind of want. I know what I'll do. Okay, but yeah, I know what I'll do. Okay, so I'm going to take this. Paste it into the next one, which is going to be CEA. And then instead of repeating the same arpeggio here, I'm going to drop it a little further down to G, C sharp, E, and then this one I think might be able to stay the same. So we get that repeated high note. What I want to do, because this marcato is a little squirrely to work with, I'm going to press the wrong button, of course. I'm going to take everything, copy it. I'm going to put it into the Abbey Road 1 trumpet as well. Let's take everything and make it all. We do have marcato in here. This is blowing my brains out. Let's go ahead and drag all these. This is just to mix inside of the two libraries, so I don't need this one to be incredibly loud. I think that'll work. If I just solo the trumpets now. Oh, that's got. I could also make it tenuto. Let's make these notes tenuto. See if we like that more. I don't know. We do not. Oh. These marcatos, even though they're shorts, are based on note length as well. So we match the note length. It's essentially the rest of the measure. Because the weird thing, right, is that in this Spitfire library, these marcatos are, the length of the note is based on the length of the MIDI note. But here in the BBC, also by Spitfire, the length of the note is kind of already set. Like the sample itself is already recorded at a specific length. Right. So when I'm layering in the Abbey Road 1 trumpet, put it at, it's weird. It's just it's a lot about knowing the tendencies of your libraries and sometimes working against those tendencies and making the best out of it, I suppose. So with everything now, that will need some further mixing, because it still doesn't sound great. And we'll blend in some woodwinds as well. But let's back up a little bit and get back into this section just so we kind of hear all this stuff in context. Where do we want to jump back to? Maybe back here. Yeah. So it's no, it's not quite there. The approach is a little off. Part of it is because of the mix, um, which will obviously fix itself in time. I mean, pretty much every single track I'm still missing um, these bad boys, right? So it will fix itself a little more, but I think uh, just the approach is still a little funky, I think. So we might take this time and back up and do a lot of that fader moves that we still haven't done. Right? Because pretty much the first half of this, I've already done all the CC data. You can see that in these little stripes going on in each um, region. But there's still plenty. I can't remember entirely where we left off doing all those, but there's a lot that still needs to be done. Except in the shorts patches. Those are all velocity based. So I don't need to worry about those. I think we left off around here, actually. I've already done all this. Yeah. Okay, so like for example, this is just placeholder CC. Um, so we haven't actually recorded in the official data, if you will. So this is a good place as any to start. Our trumpets already have their crescendo in there. But the downbeat here at letter D is where we stopped. I guess a little bit before. Right, these don't have CC data on it. So, okay, let's do that because um, this stuff is easier than trying to write new music. So let's come in here. We're gonna solo our trombones, and we're gonna delete our stand-in data and record each line separately, so each one has its own individual fader moves. Now, this note specifically, I want it to start at the top and be a super loud, powerful, like downbeat. But we're gonna die down just a little bit to give room for the strings here, and then we'll come back up into measure 60. Very subtle, I think. But it will make a difference. Same thing. Plus, just having that change gives it a little bit more of a push into the next downbeat. Even if the faders are just hardly moving, it still kind of gives that idea of a push into the downbeat, right? Poobas. Very subtle, but that's what we do. Gives more room for the violins, which we also need to record CC data for, which it's pretty much just going to be at the top of its the faders, because it's supposed to be a very big flourish. My finger actually slipped off the fader. We're going to try and do something that kind of follows the tessitura of the notes, and gives it a little bit more shape as well. Same thing in the violin one longs, although this is the tremolo patch, right? So this does not have to be as loud as the legato patch. It's just here to blend into the sound. So, for example, we just take the tremolo by itself. Doesn't sound too great. Mixed in with the legato. In fact, this can actually be a little bit louder. Small thing, but it makes a difference. The shorts are velocity based, so I don't need to worry about changing the faders for that. In fact, I don't want to change the faders. Wouldn't want to. Second violins, your turn. Second violin longs, the tremolo patch as well. These solo lines are also set to their shorts, like the spiccato, so those are also velocity based. I forget where I left. Yeah. I do just want to make sure that they default to their the top at the end of this line here. One of the things is I love getting into the actual mixing phase of this stuff, because sometimes dealing with just the MIDI itself, you are kind of constrained to the individual capabilities of each instance. Now I can go in and I can mess with, miking and stuff and effects here, but I'd rather just deal with it in the mixing phase of things. fact, this might even... I want it to be a little bit louder than that, almost. I think violin 1 and 2 are unison here, so I don't really feel bad about bringing up violin 2 over violin 1. Okay, trumpet little thing here. This is going to be hard to kind of mix around all the faders because I'm using 3 separate patches to do one little thing. Here in the legato, but also beep beep. I can delete these muted notes because they just clutter up space. And then the shorts are there to give it a little bit more impact. So I might actually record both of these lines at the same time. I think that saves time and energy. And I mean, I guess it's pretty simple fader moves, nothing crazy going on here. Yeah, that's fine, whatever. Trombones are going to get the same thing going on. Let's record both of these at the same time. I'm fine with keeping the level, you know, straight up there, not having it die away at all. Because not everything needs a decrescendo. Sometimes the lines can sustain at a volume. I kind of already recorded in stuff for this because I knew I wanted it to be a forte piano. So I already did that just for the effect. So that's fine in the trombones. Tubas are good with this. It's velocity based. Our trumpets. What's our woodwinds doing? Let's record both trumpets, longs, and legatos at the same time. No, no, not the trombones too. That'll be fine. I do need to get more woodwind stuff going on in here, but yeah, I'll do it later. Okay, let's start with the strings in this section. Our violas. Let's we can probably record the legato and the longs at the same time. I think we'll see how this sounds. Sometimes I'm afraid of recording two lines at the same time because each separate patch, the legato versus the long patches, the tremolo patches specifically, might react to the same CC data a little differently. It might throw off the balance, so we'll see how this goes. Get rid of the stand in. Okay, let's see how this goes. Kind of giving it some up and down, whatever. It's like, see, the legato is considerably softer than the tremolo. So just to smooth out the sound a little bit more, I might bring the legato values up a little bit. Because I don't want it to be a tremolo sound, I want it to be a legato sound. These notes here, the repeated notes and the shorts, I want to be a little louder so that we actually hear the rebowing. I think that's fine. Cello, same deal going on here with the up and down arpeggios. Again, this is not the final mix. We're going to do that in Pro Tools. So a lot of like the nuance between instruments will be fleshed out a little bit more. That's bad. all these long, low string, low brass things. I'm not entirely sure how I want to shape it. Let's solo just the strings here. These are set to just normal longs. I wonder if I should set these to like a long marcato attack. I think that'll be fine. Just a straight crescendo in these voices here. I don't think I need the tubas to do any marcato attacks or sforzando or anything. I'm going to mute the trombones because trombones kind of dominate the sound. Give it a little stress at this start of each note. Kind of emphasize the start a little bit. All right, trombones. Let's behave and not be too crazy here. Again, it's the bass trombone mostly, which I said earlier is really a loud sample in this particular library. See, that made a huge difference. Violins, you'll finally get your CC data for this section so you can stop sounding terrible. Forgot to delete this one. We'll have to blend in the shorts a little bit as well. Let's go ahead and record in these violin parts. It's mainly coming from this note right here. It's a little too hot. Why is it long concertino? What? That makes no sense. I like that. These are... Oh no, I'm tripping. Marimba, you're a rare sight. So sometimes I might expand if it was a more involved marimba part. I might expand the section into two marimba tracks and have one for the hits like these are, and then one track for the rolls. Um, Similar to well, not similar, exactly like what I did with the timpani, right? I have a track for hits and a track for rolls because the rolls are CC based, right? They react to the faders. And while the hits also react to the faders, their volume comes from their velocity, right? So kind of mixing velocity based with CC based. I guess CC based is not the best descriptor for it. Expression and modulation, whatever you want to call it. Mixing the two could sometimes cause problems. But we'll see. We'll see how this sounds. It's like, see, that's. I might just like hand draw it in, honestly. I don't want this to be so loud. And that's coming from the rolls. Because the roll's a little too loud. But I want the high faders because the hits react to it that way as well. That's fine. Still don't know how I feel about that. That it's maybe it's like a lack of transition in there. Not entirely sure how I feel about that. Woodwinds. Welcome, Woodwinds. Finally get notes. This little flourish, which will be an easy fix in there. All of your short notes, however, need to be a lot higher than that. Is this making it worse? Ugh, gosh. Ouch. Ears are hurting again. It is a little fatiguing listening to this stuff all the time. Funny enough, I am ready to be done with this piece and move on to something else. This is fine, except I don't want it to decrescendo like I have it. Because I was decrescendoing for a different reason. Okay, let's jump back to our bases down here. Thing I just realized I have forgotten to do is my supporting synth for the bass. So I have this synth preset somewhere. Which is essentially just a saw and sine wave kind of mixed together. And you might, I don't even know if this is, I mean, it's coming through OBS, but it is very soft. But essentially what I do is I take all of the bass notes I kind of have to go one which one, what do you call it, one region by region. And I'll take all the notes and I'll put it into this synthesizer. I actually need to take everything and put it up an octave too. I always forget I need to do that. But essentially what it's doing is giving the string bass a little extra low end support. There we go. I'll have to of course mix it in with the string bass, but essentially these are playing the exact same notes, and the synth is just giving the bass a lot of help. Um, just making it a little more present. Um, but especially for like short passages with short samples, I need to really be careful of the length. Um, kind of try and match length with the length of the base. It's a very, very subtle thing. Very subtle. And I've said before, for things like this bass should be, or this synth should be felt rather than heard. In fact, I don't want it to be heard because we're doing a full orchestra thing, not a full orchestra plus synth. So keeping everything in mind that, and we'll deal with this more later. But again, I want it to just kind of be there to support the string bass and not actually be its own instrument. Yeah, I still don't like that transition. If you can even call that a transition. Um, I might honestly, what I might do is find a different way of closing this piece out than what it currently is. Yeah, I don't know if I like that as the ending. I might do something a little more simple. Just, like big last note insert big final chord here. I don't know. Partially because I'm getting tired of this piece. It's fatiguing. I want to move on to something else, and because I'm just not entirely convinced by the current ending, or not final ending, but getting into the ending. Um, I don't know. We might change it up, and plus, it just doesn't sound very good. I mean, like, do I just put a big final note right there? I don't know. I don't know. Um, let's jump back to the beginning. We're gonna listen to all of it, and then we will call this stream good. I'm gonna put up the piano roll as well if anyone is interested. Don't need any of these. And hopefully the application doesn't crash or anything. Hopefully we can get through it unscathed. But of course, doing all these scrolling notes, right? There's so many of them. It might not like that. But let's listen to it. We can stop there. Yeah, I don't know. It's coming along. It's very close to the end. Of course, that ending section, like I said, is gonna most likely change, and we'll find a more suitable ending, I suppose. Um, so we are going to end the stream here. Thank you everybody for coming out. We had a larger turnout today than I think I've had in any stream. I don't know. Um, I don't know why, but thank you everybody. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss the rest of my live streams where we finish up this piece. We go into the mixing process of this piece. We go into orchestration on some of my previous pieces, getting it prepared for the note for note series that I started here on my channel, which the second video, the first movement of the Creation Symphony, I put up just the other day. So if you missed that, go to my channel and check out that video, the score read along thing. I'm very happy with how it came out. And then the rest of those movements will be coming to note for note in the future. So we go into, of course, live composition, but also mixing and orchestration stuff here on the live stream. So be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any of those. I'm also trying to plan out some other future, just like in general, YouTube content, particularly as it surrounds the Oscars coming up in the beginning of next year. Maybe trying to do some sort of like best score predictor sort of thing. I don't know. I was just throwing ideas at the wall, see if anything is at all interesting. So if anyone is interested in all that stuff, please let me know and subscribe so you don't miss all that stuff. Check out this Beacons link. It's also in the description of this live stream and the description of all my videos. You can find all my streaming services if you want to listen to the, however many tracks I've done. All my music is up on these streaming services. And then you can also find things like Bandcamp, Instagram, LinkedIn, all that stuff at that link. So go check that out. And today is Thursday, so we will be back here tomorrow, 3 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, and we will continue with this piece and hopefully work it to some sort of ending that we're happy with. I don't know. So we'll see. So be sure to subscribe, and I will see you all tomorrow. Goodbye.